Hi guys, so this episode is going to be of Joe Rogan talking about the Book of Enoch. Have any of you read the Book of Enoch? Put a comment about what you know, because I've heard of it, but I want to know what you know about it. He says there's a book that was found in the Dead Sea Scrolls that's about the Bible, but it wasn't allowed to be added to the official Bible because rabbis wouldn't allow it. And it talks about how did humans get here. So here's what he's got. It's interesting.
I was talking to Shane about this, and we were just talking about like ancient history. He's like, I don't fuck with the ancient history, and I'm like, why not? He goes, nobody really knows what fucking Augustus said to this guy. Like, people are just making it up and like writing it down afterwards. He's like, you really kind of barely even know what happened 50 years ago or like 100 years ago. And I think that's one of the reasons why, if you get into like antiquity, it's so interesting, because it's just been like mythologized.
Yeah.
So everything is so much more remarkable and amazing, and the people are so much more resilient because they've been retelling the story for 2,000 years. If you want people to listen to that story, you got to make it interesting.
Yeah. And the thing is also you have to remember it, and then you have to tell it to people before anybody even figures out how to write things down.
Yeah.
So they're saying it for 1,000 years before they even write it down.
Yeah.
That's my issue with the Bible. I think the Bible is a historical account of something.
Yeah.
And I think one of the real problems with the Bible is as you get older and older with the Bible, things get weirder and weirder. So it's like, what was the original story? Like, if you get to the Dead Sea Scrolls are bananas. And there's stuff in the Dead Sea Scrolls, like if you get, like, I had Rep Luna, Anna Paulina Luna on the podcast, and she was talking to me about the Book of Enoch. She goes, you ever read that? And
But
I was
that's
like,
not
no.
included in the canonized.
Here's why. But it's an original biblical text, or at least a part of the original religious text that they found in the Dead Sea Scrolls in Qumran. When they found those clay tablets, the Book of Enoch was in there along with the Book of Isaiah.
We need to call Wesley
The Book
Huff.
of Enoch is nuts.
I already know.
Bananas. She told me to read it. And she's like, you have to read this. It's nuts.
And what did Wes Huff say? Did he say there's a legitimacy?
It's 100% a legitimate text. It's legitimate religious text, but they decided not to include it because it's so nuts and because it goes against like what the writings of the Torah.
Right.
So, but it was a few rabbis. Just a few rabbis decided. Like if the Book of Enoch was included in the Bible, it changes the whole story of the human race.
Why would the rabbis decide what goes into the
Christian? They had that kind of power. They just decided that it doesn't get included in the canon.
Well, who decided the canonized Bible, right? This is like Constantine time, right?
Wes Huff would be the guy to ask
wait a
all
minute.
these questions.
Enoch was included in the Old Testament.
Oh, it's old as fuck.
Oh, okay,
Not only is it old as fuck, when they found it, they also found a version of the Book of Isaiah. This is one of the things that Wes Huff told me that was really fascinating. They found a version of the Book of Isaiah that is verbatim the same as a version of the version of Isaiah that was 1,000 years later, which they thought was the original.
Unbelievable.
That's what's crazy. For 1,000 years, they maintained the exact same story verbatim, writing it down and passing it on. And the Book of Enoch's in there with that. And the Book of Enoch is bananas.
Yeah, I think we might need to do a little deep dive on the Book of Enoch.
It says that these watchers came down and mated with human beings and created a race of giants called the Nephilim who consumed and destroyed everything in front of them. Gee, that sounds like people.
Yeah.
That sounds a lot like people.
Yeah.
If you got a bunch of little chimps and then you got these tall aliens and they make a fucking 7-foot man, a Viking, who's like chopping off heads and lighting villages on fire and has this unstoppable desire for conquest, that's humans. The Nephilim sounds like humans.
Exactly. So they're not giants. We are the giants. And then what if the other folks...
They might have been giants. Like, it's hard to say.
But what if the other folks were the Neanderthals? Well, because there was a time where we're living together, right?
Right. Well, the question is like, where did humans come from?
Yeah. This
is the real question. There's a really interesting show on PBS right now called Human, where this lady goes on this journey of, it's like, she's, what is her degree in? Is she an anthropologist? I believe she's an anthropologist, but, or maybe some sort of biologist, but she goes over the history of the human species. It's very interesting. The migration from across the Bering Land Bridge into North America, when the oldest people started coming here, how they came here. Fascinating stuff. But that's one of those things, like if you think ancient history is filled with horseshit, like they just found recently a human skull that pushes the date of humans back another 500,000 years.
Yeah.
So it's like all they know is what they find in the fossil record, and
Yeah.
there's so little fossil record.
Yeah.
And then they keep finding new things.
Yeah.
Like they just found Denisovans in like 2010. They're like, whoa,
What is that?
what's this? Total new branch of the human tree.
It's called Denisovans.
Denisovans. Yeah, they
Okay.
found like a bunch of teeth, I think, in Asia, and they're like, what the fuck is this? And then or maybe it was Russia. So there's that. There's the one that they found in China, the big head people.
That's the one I saw
real
recently.
recent.
Yeah.
That's real recent. If aliens are coming down and like, let's try them where they're short and really powerful and they only eat meat, and that's Neanderthals. Like, stop! This one's not
Too
a
much.
good design. This is not a good design. We need them a little more frail so they invent things.
Yeah.
Because the brutes don't invent anything.
Yeah, more frontal cortex.
Yeah. The Neanderthals had bigger brains than us. That's what's interesting.
So then what part of our brain was specifically different?
Our idea of them is that they were dumb and they couldn't talk and that they were brutes. But it doesn't seem like that's true. In fact, it seems like they had art, they definitely had tools, and they had language. And they might have been as smart as us. They were just different. And maybe us being a little weaker is what made us smarter. You know,
Or made us work collectively.
and it seems like the hairy, 5'7", 200-pound
Yeah.
fucking savages with big eyes that
Yeah.
might be able to see at night, because it looks like they might have had night vision. They have huge eyeballs, man.
Right.
The Neanderthal eye socket's way bigger than ours. Their skull's thicker. Their bones are more dense. They might have had night vision, like a dog. You know how dogs, their eyes glow when the headlights hit
Yeah.
them? They might have had that same ability.
Like there could be people telling those stories in the books.
There could be.
Like meaning what their rendition of what happened
Yes.
is in the book, and that is what they truly believed happened. They might not even be delusional. They are
Right.
delusional, but like that's what they saw, and that's
Right.
what happened to them.
My version of the Bible story back in the day, I used to have this bit about Noah's Ark. I was like, the problem with the Bible is people are full of shit, and that story sucks.
Yeah.
Like, it's that simple. It's
Yeah.
like people lie all the time. I've never met any politician or any person who's in charge of anything that's like really important that I would say never lies. So if you're back then where there's zero accountability, zero video, zero anything, they can't even write.
Well, that's where the cross-referencing makes sense, right? It's like that's when you got a bunch of different people saying the same thing or similar things. You start to go, okay, maybe this did happen.
Run it up. Stop.